Welcome back, crafters! Today we're diving into some super easy patriotic decor ideas that are perfect for adding a festive touch to your home. Whether you're celebrating Independence Day, Memorial Day, or just wanting to show off your patriotic spirit, these crafts are simple, fun, and guaranteed to impress. Hi, my name is Katie from Lady Red Crafting. Let's jump in and get crafty. So while I was at the Dollar Tree, I walked by this adorable gnome bag. And I thought this was so cute. It is a reusable bag, but we're going to craft with it. So we're going to start out with one of these canvases from the Dollar Tree, and it's 11 by 14, and it's one of the ones that doesn't have the wood frame inside. Next, I'm just going to place that over the top of the bag, and using my straight edge, we're going to measure how much excess we have on each side. And there is a little over an inch on either side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark a 1 inch marking, and then I ended up drawing a line down the side of the bag for 1 inch. So it gave us a little bit of an overhang for this painting. Now let's grab our scissors and we just cut the front side of this bag. Now to start, I don't cut the hanger off of it. I leave that on. And then you'll be able to just set the rest of the bag aside. And in craft number 3, we'll do something with the back side of this bag. Now I'm just going to reposition the canvas over the bag and verify where I need to cut to get the hanger off of the bag. And I'm just going to cut this in one long strip because I want to reuse this hanger later. Next, let's go ahead and grab some Mod Podge. And I'm going to just take a little bit of this Mod Podge and put it onto the canvas directly. And using one of my larger brushes here, we're going to just coat the whole entire canvas. Next, we're going to go ahead and just put our little gnomes right over the top. And there'll be a little bit of overhang, and that is perfectly fine. Now I'm going to grab my roller and I'm just going to roll over the top of the gnomes on the canvas. And once I am satisfied, I flip this canvas over and I took 4 books and I put a book on each corner just to make sure that the canvas was sitting flat on top of this bag so that it had a better chance to adhere to everything. And I think that helped out a lot. Now, once everything is completely dry, and that was about 2 hours later, I went ahead and flipped this over again, and I'm adding some hot glue on the bottom, and I'm just going to fold up the overhang onto the back side of this canvas. Now let's reattach the hanger to our canvas. So I'm just going to take that hanger and I'm going to make sure that it's going to fit onto the canvas, and I'm just going to trim any excess off there. And we're just going to flip the canvas back over, and using our hot glue gun, we'll just reattach this to the canvas. Really like how this is coming together, but I want to add something more to it. So what we're going to do next is set this aside for a minute, and we're going to grab out some patriotic ribbons. Now most of these ribbons I did get at the dollar store, but there are 1 or 2 in there that I did get at Walmart. For this first bigger ribbon here, I want that to be the base of my bow. So I'm going to cut these at 9-inch strips, and we're going to cut 3 of them. Well, since I couldn't find patriotic ribbon that was a little bit smaller in width at the Dollar Tree, we're just going to fold these in half and add some hot glue and make some smaller ribbons. And now we'll repeat this step on all 3 of our ribbons. And once this is complete, we can start trimming the remainder of our ribbons, and I cut them in 8.5-inch strips. Now I'm just going to arrange my messy bow, and this is the fun part. You just stack your ribbons in any order that you want. And once you have that complete, we'll go ahead and grab our pipe cleaner, and we're going to use that in the center of our ribbon. And this will attach everything together. So to cover up the pipe cleaner in the center, you can use another ribbon, add a bow, or add an embellishment. And for this one, I'm adding an embellishment using a wood star. And one thing I noticed after getting this bow all put together was that my strands, because they don't have wire in them, were just not laying the way I would like. So the nice thing about if they're cut too long, you can just go back in and give them a haircut. So that's what I did for this bow. Let's go ahead and get this bow attached to our canvas. I have to decide where I want it, and I ended up deciding on the center of the canvas, so I'm just going to add a little bit of hot glue and attach my bow. So here's how our gnome sign turns out. And wow, I think this turns out so cute. What do you think? Let me know in the comments below. So if you like burlap, the Dollar Tree has pretty much been rocking it this last few years on having a lot of variety on different burlap. And right now they do have a red, white, and blue. So I got one of each. And I unrolled all of these and noticed that there are a ton of wrinkles in this. So what I'm going to do is I'm using a spray bottle with some water, and I'm just going to spray down my burlap. Now grab a hot iron, and using it on the high setting, just iron out all of those wrinkles. And I just repeated this for all 3 pieces of burlap. And now that we have all of those ironed out flat, I grabbed this fun star-shaped dish at the thrift store and a chalk pencil from the Dollar Tree. And we're just going to use this dish as a stencil on top of our burlap. Now once you have your 2 stars traced out, I grabbed some scissors and I'm just going to roughly cut around the star shape. I'm not going to do a nice finished cut. Next, I grabbed some polyfill and my hot glue gun. And what we're going to do is we're going to hot glue around the chalk and we're going to mash up the pieces together. After I did this step, I realized that why did I trace out 2 stars? I only need to trace 1 out. So on my next 2 stars, I'm only going to trace out 1. But we're going to just do this hot glue all the way around, but leave a small opening just big enough for us to be able to stuff polyfill into our star. And I found it was easier to just add a little bit at a time and make sure we got everything into the corners of those stars. And now that that's complete, we'll just take some more hot glue and close up our star. Now grab your scissors and just trim around our star. This gives it a really nice and rustic look. So I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about this exciting patriotic playlist. Special thanks to our host, Brenda from Rustic and Lace DIYs, and guest host Robin from Crafts Unleashed by Robin. Thank you for putting together this fantastic red, white, and blue playlist. Their links and a link to this playlist are listed down below, so please check them out and give them some love. Thank you! So now that we have this trimmed out, I'm going to just hot glue a cute twine bow to our star. Moving on to our blue burlap. I found these adorable stencils at the Dollar Tree, and I taped a piece of blue burlap onto a paintable surface. And using these stencils, I'm taping them down with some blue painter's tape on top of the burlap. Next, I'm going to grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color plaster, and we're just going to stencil some stars all over this piece of burlap. And I used a variety of sizes of stars, some small, medium, and a large one in the center. And when I'm stenciling on burlap, I like to use a sponge brush. And now we're going to repeat the same steps as we did for our red pillow. I use some hot glue and trace over the star, and then we'll attach the second piece of burlap. Now we'll grab some polyfill and fill this pillow up and hot glue it together. And now that our blue rustic star is complete, let's move on to our white burlap. For this one, we're just going to grab some red Waverly chalk paint and paint some stripes over the top of the burlap. Then we'll just continue on to make our cute rustic star. And for this one, it did turn out pretty rustic, so I grabbed some twine and I just wrapped it around the star and tied a quick little bow, to give it a little bit better points on the star. Now our stars are complete. I think these turned out adorable. They're a rustic little piece that you can add to a tier tray or to a basket for a pop of red, white, and blue. Let's go back to this adorable gnome bag, and we're going to use the other side. What we're going to do is grab a pair of scissors and cut out each one of these gnomes. And if you're enjoying this content, don't forget to hit that subscribe button below. And now that we have our gnomes cut out, we'll set them aside for a moment. Now I grabbed a wood round from the Dollar Tree while I was there, and we're going to use this in our piece. I'm starting out by removing the hanger from the round. Next, I'm going to go ahead and put this down on a paintable surface. And to make sure this doesn't move around too much, I'm just using a small piece of painter's tape, and I'm going to tape the rounder down to my piece of cardboard. Now, I didn't have a lot of blue paint to choose from in my painting stash, so I'm using some Delta Navy Blue. It's a little bit brighter than what I wanted, but I think this will turn out just fine. And I'm just going to paint my rounder completely. And once our rounder is completely dry, I grab my gnomes and I'm just going to position them on the round. The gnomes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with the center gnome first and add some Mod Podge to the back side of the gnome. And I'm going to paint the Mod Podge on completely. And then we'll carefully flip this over and center this onto our rounder. Now we'll repeat the same step for the other two gnomes. Now that we have our gnomes in position, I did flip this rounder over and place books on top and let this dry for 2 hours before moving on to the next step. Now that everything is completely dry, I grab my Waverly chalk paint in the color white and my paintbrush. And what we're going to do here is we're going to lightly dry brush around the outside of each one of these gnomes. Now, I have these adorable little wood stars in my stash, and I'm just going to tape 3 of them down to a paintable surface. And since we have our white Waverly chalk paint out, we'll give them a quick coat of that. Since these cutouts are really thin and small, I found it easier to take some wood glue, and I just added it to a little scrap piece of paper there. And we're just going to use a paintbrush and paint the back sides of these stars with the wood glue so that we can attach these to our rounder. And now that we have our final star attached, let's grab a perfect little bow and add that to the top of our rounder right in the center. And I'm going to attach this with some hot glue. So to stick with our theme of red, white, and blue, I'm going to add a red satin ribbon as our hanger. Now here is our adorable rounder. I love how patriotic this is. This is perfect for Independence Day or for Memorial Day. And who doesn't love some fun solar lights? Let's make this up to be a patriotic light set. Using some holiday berry, blue, and white from my gallery glass paints, we're going to go ahead and just paint our little lights. If you haven't used these paints before, they are great. They go on kind of like puffy paint, but not quite as thick. And what I'm doing here is I'm just going to do some alternating squares where I do blue, then red, then white. And don't worry, it looks pink right now. It will turn red once this completely dries. So I'm going to complete this pattern on all 4 sides of this light. And I'm going to make 2 matching lights because I'm going to use them on my front porch, 1 in each planter on either side of my front door. Now, once you're done painting these, set them aside to dry overnight. And here is what they'll look like in the morning. Now, once you take these outside, they look amazing. And there you have it, 4 beautiful red, white, and blue projects. I hope you enjoyed these crafts as much as I did, and if you're looking for more fun and creative craft ideas, be sure to check out this next video. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you'll never miss an update. Thank you for watching, and until next time, craft more, stress less.